Yeah, so I should be broadcasting right now.
Let's send notification, right?
Yeah, you should see something. Or you didn't tag anybody?
Nah, not yet. It just said as soon as it's live now.
So yeah, just check your
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
So when I tag, Raggles.
Sure.
Should do a live video.
Sure, for sure. So you can write a post.
Education.
Yeah.
Yeah, we back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dynamic Analytical Synthesis, the Synthesis. One of your hosts, my name is Pure.
Stocky, fucking Rocky.
Education.
And today what we're going to do is we're going to have an introduction to the Black Entrepreneur Series, hosted by Stocky fucking Rocky.
Right. So this is the first episode of the Black Entrepreneur Series, where we just chop it up with some black brothers and sisters, you know, that's doing their thing. They got their thing going on. This is the first of many. So we definitely trying to showcase, you know, what they got and talk to them and inspire anybody that's trying to become an entrepreneur, inspire anybody that's trying to, you know, take their talents and make some money off of it and cause some turbulence, you know, in the entrepreneur world. But today we got two guests. We have Culture, Mustache Pete Clothing, and we also have Brooklyn Wing House. But we're gonna get with Culture from Mustache Pete Clothing first. Culture, introduce yourself to the people.
Peace. What's going on out there, y'all, all the listeners? My name is Culture. I'm a up-and-coming brand from started in Brooklyn. Clothing brand name is Mustache Pete Clothing. For y'all out there.
So how did you come up with the name Mustache Pete?
I was inspired by a book I was reading. I actually inherited a book titled Lansky, and the third time I was reading the book, the name just kept sticking out to me, Mustache Pete. So I did my research on it, and it kind of coincide with, where I grew up at, and the whole thing around perseverance. Folks who came from nothing, coming from a country poor, and basically getting everything, coming for everything. So Mustache Pete was the name given to a group of powerful individuals who came to America in the early 1900s, and a lot of them settled in Brownsville, East New York area. Like, for instance, Meyer Lansky used to live on Chester Street in Brownsville. Right now, today, I think is a group home there on that block, but his house was right there. I grew up real close to, where Gotti and them was at, so the whole mafia, everything was kind of like real close to me and growing up. So I kind of like took the name, and not the essence of the negative side of the mafia, but with the perseverance and not having nothing, and being what Jay-Z and Diddy is worth now in the early 1900s at a young age, 25, so that inspired me. Yeah, pretty much.
So what made you take that name and put it into fashion?
Well, at the time I was on the works of, making my own brand, you know what I mean? And I was just like, I wanted a name that was strong, and predominantly it was a male brand, and I wanted it to stand out. I wanted it to be strong, and I felt that name was very strong after I started doing it. First of all, when I first heard it, like Mustache Pete, I was always taught, a good brand should have one or two, words in it, you know what I mean? So it could be catchy. So when I heard it, Mustache Pete, I'm like, wow, this is dope. And like I said, I began to do the research, and I'm like, hey, this is real close to me, I was always a guy who was into the whole organized world. I always did a lot of research on it, and I learned a lot of things. Like these guys, they really built America. I'm talking about down to the MTA, the tunnel services, and everything. So it just struck me like this is the name I want for my brand. And then after that, I got into the design and stuff for it, which is took me like two months to make my logo, because first I had to do a case study. I studied brands that had mustaches. I studied Calvin Klein. I studied Pringles. You'll be surprised. Like, I went through so many different logos in a span of 2 months, and then I came with the first initial logo, which is a mustache, but it's also an acronym. When you look at it closely, it's an M and a P, creatively forming a mustache. Yeah, cursively.
All right. You was having a conversation earlier, and one of the other guests that's here, he said like 2009, he was fucking with your shit in 2009. So, yeah. I mean, like, so how long has Mustache Pete been around?
To be honest, I think it was probably 2011. I started Mustache Pete in 2011. I started off with bow ties and belts and keychains, accessories. Reason being, Meyer Lansky had the world's largest bow tie collection. He stayed in a Fountain Blue in Miami, and this was in 1930. You know what I mean? So Fountain Blue, been around for a long time. And so I started with silk bow ties with my logo embroidered. I probably was the first one to ever do that, and that took off. That was pretty cool. The first person to actually wear my bow ties was the first black athlete to ever wear the Nike sneaker, Anthony Davis, the Notre Dame killer, out in L.A. He went on L.A. Sports, ESPN Sports in L.A. with the Eminansky brothers, and was really excited when he had got his hands on a bow tie or whatever, and he talked really highly about it. So that kind of was a good look for me right there. But he was the first black athlete to wear the Nike swoosh sneaker on the cover of Sports Illustrated in 1972. He was also the first black man to wear Mustache Pete clothing.
No, that's dope. I like how you know your history. You know what I'm saying? I like how you did your homework on that. I mean, today, you know, you look at today, there's so many people with clothing brands. I mean, what motivates you to keep on pushing? You're seeing that every other week somebody's popping up with their brand. Like,
I don't know. I just stay in my own lane. I guess is a little bit of me just you know, I just stay in my own lane. I look at every brand as inspiration. You know, it's nothing new under the sun. So I don't walk around like mine's is better than anybody else's or anything like that. I just really just look at everything collectively and be inspired, like a big collage, you know what I mean? And I work from there, and I just, you know, I mean, it's always going to be other brands, but it's just, if you keep going, a lot of people feel, I don't do it for money. I do it for passion. I like creating my stuff, and if nobody don't buy it, I'm gonna wear it myself. And 9 times out of 10, every time I put something on, somebody always asking, yo, what's that, you know? So it's interested. They're interested in it, you know what I mean, pretty much. But that's what keep me going.
so I mean, who was your like when you came up with the brand and you said, all right, this is what I'm gonna design. After you left from bow ties and accessories, you decided to get into clothing. Like, who did you see like wearing your clothing? Like, what demographic did you see? Like, all right, these are the people that I want to see in my clothing. Like, these are what I'm designing my clothing for.
Well, yeah, because when I was doing the accessories, I was really thinking high end, right? I had this, you know, we all dream mad big, like, oh yeah, I'm like, yo, I'm doing silk bow ties, and, you know, and my stuff was pretty pricey, and people didn't really know, like, what the brand was, like, why should I pay for this, right? You know, so it's like, you know, the same reason why you'll pay for, you know, the quote unquote high end brands, you know, because you like it, you know. I hate the word support, for real, because you don't really support people's stuff. You know, like if you go in a Gucci store, you're not saying, yeah, I want to support Gucci, right? I'm not supporting, you know, Donatello, right? Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you buying it because you like it. And that's the only reason I want Hez to buy my brand, really. If you like it, you like it. If not, not. But on a question, what was it?
No, I said, who did you see like when you was designing your clothing, wearing it?
I seen the world. I don't, like, again, it goes, I don't have no stipulations like, yo, I'm creating it for this. But of course, me being a inner city urban kid, you know, of course, naturally, people like me, you know, naturally. But the first people who started contacting me when I was putting it out there was people from Norway and France. And I guess it was more because of the name. You know, a lot of people was familiar with history. You know, unfortunately, a lot of us, you know, we don't read. You know, so a lot of people who read was familiar with it and was reaching out to me. There was a lot of people who was familiar with the Fibonacci sequence. I don't know if y'all familiar with that, but Fibonacci is the way numbers are multiplied, and in the logo you see the Fibonacci in it, you know. So a lot of people who got like knowledge of certain things was able to have those conversations. And when I was creating the brand, you know, that was my goal. I wanted the logo to invoke conversation. Like, some people see it, they be like, yo, what's that? That's Hebrew? Like, you know, yo, what's, or, you know, what's that? And from there it goes on, and then we just start building, and they say, oh, but like the first people that started contacting me was like Norway and France.
Okay. Preem has some, I mean,
Education.
My fault, Preem.
Education, you want to chime in? You got some questions, bro?
I guess because I'm kind of like a historian myself. I don't know. When you first started talking about it, I remember because I'm from Brownsville. I grew up there, and Crown Heights as well. But I know. Did that have anything to do with? I know you said Maya Lansky was there, but didn't the Murder Inc. They grew up around there too, like on Livonia.
Yeah, Murder Inc. Maya Lansky was the boss of Murder Inc.
It wasn't Albert Anastasia.
Maya Lansky was the boss of Albert Anastasia, Murder Inc., Bugsy Siegel's, all of them. Him and Lucky Luciano was partners. Maya Lansky was Jewish. He couldn't be made full-blood Italian. He couldn't be a made man because he wasn't full-blooded Italian. So Murder Inc. was a group of Jewish hitmen. And at the time in Brownsville, East New York, all of those, like those churches and stuff that you see that's real big, those were synagogues. you know, before they
Right.
moved into, you know, more into Crown Heights. But yeah, Murder Inc., yeah, all that. That's all Maya Lansky. They would call Maya Lansky would he would fix the cars for hitmen when they'd do the drive-bys so they could get away from the cops. He'd spike up their engines. So that was a business he had, and you know, a whole bunch of other stuff on that. But yeah, Murder Inc. was definitely from that area. Yeah.
Do you think that or no, let me not do you think, but do people that you noticed that started to buy your clothes knew the history of what Mustache P was? Or was it
Some did. Like, you know, a lot of like one guy, Italian dude from Mill Basin, he gave stories about how Maya Lansky used to look out for his grandparents and stuff. Pardon me, Lucky Luciano. Some people did and some people didn't, but that was the whole thing. The logo was so intriguing. Like, people would just be staring at it, and it would either be them teaching me about something I didn't know, or me teaching them about something they didn't know. So it's history.
and from your journey with your clothing line from 2011, what was the biggest thing that you learned about the business, about, I mean, anything? What would you say?
It definitely is. It's a business that if you're not passionate about it and you're just coming in it for, like, yo, you see somebody else doing it and they were successful and they made money and you're like, oh yeah, I could get a check. It's not you. It's not gonna be a good thing for you, because this type of business consists of constant reinvesting. For instance, like, if I go and press up a whole bunch of my winter and fall collection and only, you know, I have a bad year, only 30% of it sells, that mean I ain't make enough profit to go into the next. So that can discourage you, you know, and you could say, well, damn, you know, but if you don't like it, if you don't really have the passion to do it, then you're gonna be like, I'm not investing in this. The heads ain't by the last season, you know. So it's constant reinvesting, constant creation, a lot of work, a lot of fine tuning, learning. I learned so much, you know. When I first started out, it was just about a T-shirt, you know, and some ink, you know. Now I'm dealing with manufacturers and manufacturers and people all over the world, you know. So it's got to be something you have passionate about.
I got another question. I'm glad you said that, because and I know you mentioned earlier about the first basketball player, something about a ball player. I don't want to misquote what you said, but I heard what you said. How do you feel about, I don't know if you know what's going on with, like, LeVar Ball and, you know, his sons, and how he's, you know, creating a big baller brand, and he's using his son, not using his son, but, you know, using the brand to market it through his sons. And you know, as a businessman, and you're a black man building up, you know, who's been in this industry for a while. What are your thoughts on what he's doing?
I think it's great. I mean, see, it's so many rules and regulations that people make up on how you supposed to do something. You know what I mean? Me, for one, I had no knowledge of how to start a clothing line, any of that. You know what I mean? I came in this joint blindfolded, head first, like, yo, what's up? I want, you know. So it was like I learned, and I love that experience. I learn as I'm going, you know. That's why I'm not afraid to fail. Nobody can tell me, oh, you're gonna flop or what. I don't really care, you know, because it's just the whole point of me learning. I love to learn. I love to do research. I mean, I was actually reading when I was creating a brand, and I think what he's doing is good. I mean, it's we supposed to take everything that we have and our structure around us and make do with it. When, you know I was starving, so when I was in my fridge and I look in it and it's only a piece of bread, this and this and that, you learn how to make a meal, you know. So, and that's the same thing I think he's doing. You know, he's taking, you know, everything that he see that's around him and that he can capitalize off, and he's doing it, and I think it's a great idea, you know.
I just got one last question. For everybody who's watching, who will see this episode, that might have dreams or aspirations of being, you know, an entrepreneur and getting into the clothing industry, what would be the number one thing, a piece of advice that you would give them if you could only give them one thing?
I would say anything that you want to do, have love for it. Don't just do it because you see somebody else doing it. That never works. That never works out. You're going to find, because, you know, it's so much than just what's on the surface. And love what you do. You know, everybody in here, you know what I mean? This show, everything. If you don't really love it, eventually it's gonna disappear. It's not gonna last. So that's the only thing I can say. You know, one thing I could say, not the only one thing I would say.
Right. Cool. All right.
So,
Thanks.
So what's next? What's next for Mustache Pete? Like, what do you got going on next?
Well, next, basically right now I'm preparing for summer, spring. So I got some pieces I'm cooking up. As I was on my way here, I was going back and forth with the manufacturers, like, yo, my shit better be right. But also I'm gonna throw it in a couple boutiques. I'm thinking only 3 boutiques, and I'm gonna just keep everything else exclusive on the website. My man just opened up his store out in Oakland or whatever, so you could look forward to Mustache Pete definitely being out there. Let's say sometime in January, coming into the new year. It's called Capra Diem. You could check him out on IG, Flyboy, Bay Area. You know, he got that dope sneaker out there, the valedictorians. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about a couple other boutiques too. My guy, you know, the Bar Boutique, and probably another one. This guy who just opened up his joint in Williamsburg. I like how they moving. What's his name? Best I Fly. Yeah. So those 3 boutiques right there. I'm interested, so you can look forward for that.
All right. Well, tell the people where they can find, you know, Mustache Pete Clothing, and tell them where they can find you on social media and everything.
You can find Mustache Pete Clothing at www.mustachepetefashion.com, and you know, Mustache Pete Clothing, all one word. IG Mustache Pete Clothing. Facebook, all one word. Mustache Pete C_A on Twitter. Yep.
Shout out to Culture, man. Came with gifts too, man. I got me one.
Yeah, see
You know what
that
I'm saying?
signature logo right
Wow.
here? This is what I was talking about. See, this is Fibonacci right here. The beginning, you got an M, and then you have the P. You know, and that's a mustache, but it's Mustache Pete or Mustache Pete.
My man.
Say that again. Mustache Pete.
Mustache
Pete.
Pete.
Now, I met this real Italian girl one time. I thought she was like Dominican or something, because she was like real, like our complexion. And she was like, no, everybody in Calabria is like this, our complexion, like dark, and the way she was talking, and she was like, what's this? And she knew about Mustache Pete, and when she said it, she was like, oh, Mustache Pete. So I say that now.
All right. Thanks for coming up, Culture.
Right.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Right. So our next guest that we have, black entrepreneurs. It's my guys from the Brooklyn Wing House. Introduce yourselves.
Dre from Brooklyn Wing House.
Dave from Brooklyn Wing House.
Perfect. So I mean, where did y'all come up with the name Brooklyn Wing House, man? How did that come about?
Pretty much started like 2 years ago. We was playing with some names, and first name we came up with was like House of Wings or something like that. And you know, everybody that we pitched the idea to, they was like, "Damn, that name is kind of corny. It's too generic." So I sat back and I thought about it some more. I said, "All right, we from Brooklyn. We made a lot of money in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's only right we put that Brooklyn stamp on it."
As you should.
So we just said we just gonna go with Brooklyn Wing House, and that was it.
I mean, so how y'all get in the food business? I mean, you have a food background, or you know, it just was
I
like.
mean, we love to eat, so you know what I'm saying?
My mom's had a restaurant back in the days in the early '90s, so she a chef, so it just stick to me, and I always wanted to open something up.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. So I mean, what separates the Brooklyn Wing House from like every other wing spot, every other restaurant that's out there now? Like what makes y'all so unique?
I would say quality. Like, a lot of people don't take time out to make like a buffalo sauce, or everything is generic. So we take time out to put time into our products.
Yeah, our food is fun, man. It's fun.
Fun
yeah,
food?
and it's fun
Yeah,
food.
fun food.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You getting chicken and waffles, red velvet, macadamia, and mac
So
and cheese.
so y'all
balls.
really gonna do this?
Oh, man.
Y'all definitely ain't bring nothing up here for us to sample.
I didn't know it was gonna be other people here. I said that when I came. Like, damn, we should have bought some wings. And shit.
It's all love.
Nah, it's cool. It's all love. I mean, but yeah, grand opening was crazy. Man, listen, I never seen a grand opening like that. You know what I'm saying? And like that kind of like inspired me, to keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of stuff going on, but I mean, the way it was just so crazy out there, the way Instagram and Twitter and social media was buzzing about what y'all had going on. I mean, the way the traffic was fucked up and the way people were standing outside and it was a line down the block. I mean, that was crazy. I mean, did y'all anticipate that?
Nah.
Nah, we did it. We did, but we didn't. We did at first. We didn't, but we did because we did little soft openings, and on
Yeah,
our
those
soft
was
openings,
crazy.
they was just flooding the door. It was a point in my mind. I was just like, yo, man, y'all go home, man. Like wait tomorrow. Why y'all all coming at the same time? Like,
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
Nah,
So we knew from the soft openings, the grand opening was gonna be crazy. I didn't know the line was gonna be down the block though. Like
it was
they was
bananas.
waiting on the line for 2-3 hours.
Yeah, they really was.
Oh, I mean, so since then, like, what has been y'all biggest struggle? Just running the business. Are y'all first time business owners or?
Yeah, I'm a first time business owner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what's been the biggest struggle?
Dealing with personal life, dealing with the employees, dealing with the customers, dealing with consistency. You gotta be consistent.
You gotta be ready for these issues that pop up every day or something different.
Yeah, every day.
Oh man, is that something y'all foreseen? Was y'all ready for it, or did y'all have to adjust?
And you gotta adjust because we didn't prepare for these different type of issues. But
Preem, I know Preem got a few questions.
Yeah. So when did y'all open Brooklyn Wing House? How long has it been open for?
My first opening date was August 9th. The soft opening, grand opening was August 19th.
Okay, so that's this year.
Yeah, this year.
Okay. And I know you said y'all had a lot of success on the soft openings. Being that this is your first time business owners, what was y'all marketing plan? Like, how did y'all get so many people out? How did y'all market the soft opening and the grand opening?
social media, man. Social media.
That's it.
Yeah, we blasted. Our whole concept was we know a lot of people that know a lot of people.
Right.
And like 2-3 years ago, I put a post out on Instagram. I said, if I open up a restaurant, is y'all gonna support me? And I had a good amount of people, like the post, comment, say they gonna support. So that was me testing the waters before I even thought about doing something like opening up.
So what you had, like 1,000? What was it, like 1,000 retweets or something? Like
Yeah.
like
On
First
Twitter,
day.
it was just,
Like, it was just
the retweets
crazy.
was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
How'd y'all come up with the menu?
We had so many different menus. Like, came up with the menu with the chef, me and my partner. Yeah, we had like probably like 2-3 different menus. Yeah.
Our first menu was crazy.
Yeah.
but what's some of the stuff that's on the menu? Just like that's different. Like
I think our sauces is different. Like, for example, the mango Ciroc habanero.
Say wings,
Yeah, we got sweet chili rum glaze.
pineapple teriyaki.
Yeah.
so y'all know where the after party is at, right? We gonna Brooklyn Wing House after that. They got me hungry right now.
Do y'all feel like y'all in a good spot?
Yeah, I feel
Like
like
got the location of your restaurant?
yeah, I feel like it's good. It's a lot of foot traffic. It's accessible to subways, buses.
I also feel like we good because there's nothing really over there. Like, it's not much food places, so we don't have that much competition with other people.
And the reason that I asked, and I'm not gonna put the other business out here because we here to promote y'all business, but there was another wing spot there at some point because I did the research on where y'all located, and I didn't know, and that's why I asked the date as well when y'all open because I don't live in New York anymore. I'm Skyping from DC, but definitely when I'm in the area, I'm gonna come check it out. But I know that the spot that was there before y'all. It had a lot of people coming there, but they didn't last, and I didn't know why. Was it because of the location or what? So that's the only reason I really asked that question. To be honest,
we definitely know about that spot. I mean, we both used to eat from there. We didn't do a wing spot because it was a wing spot there already. We
right?
did a wing spot because wings is what we love.
Yeah.
I feel like she didn't last because she did good because she opened up other locations.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt that the way she went about her business, she didn't structure it right, and she wound up collapsing, like opening other different spots. I think she had like 3 other spots.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Actually, I was over there at the time. I was over there at the time when they was over there. I think it was due to that before, I don't know who the guy who actually started building that whole little who owned all of the locations, because he owned the spot next door, the pea shop on the corner. The community helped build it.
Yeah.
He was kind of flimsy with stuff too, so it was probably a matter of time for everyone at that time when he was in control was just gonna be leaving that area.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, the restaurant business is like that's not like an easy business.
Nah.
I mean, like, I sit. I go to a lot of restaurants and I just be looking at the staff and how people are moving and grooving, and I just be like, wow, like there got to be a lot that goes into it. So what motivates you every morning to give 1,000% when you wake up to Brooklyn Wing House? What motivates you to go in there and put your best foot forward and make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed so that people will keep coming back?
Customers, really.
You
Just
don't
making
keep
the
your
customers
happy. You ain't got a business.
Yeah, you don't.
So we're big on quality. Like if I go in there and I see somebody doing something not the way that we normally do it, even if it's gonna taste the same way, I'm upset. Do it this way. This is the way we show you. So we're big on quality. Like,
Gotcha. How's the pricing though? The pricing. Well, I know the pricing is good. I mean, I'll let you tell it. I mean, I was in there last night. Word up. Shout out to Brooklyn Warehouse. But you guys talk. How'd you come up with those prices?
well, the pricing. I mean, we check other businesses what prices they was offering, and then we check the pricing of the food, what the food is going for. Wings actually are very, very expensive, and they fluctuate in price. So with that, you got to set your price at a decent price. So when it goes up, you're still able to sell wings. When it goes down, so you got to keep it at a nice, reasonable place where people are gonna come, still buy it, and then when it does raise up, you still can afford to sell wings.
Gotcha.
Take a little profit.
Wow, that's what up. I mean, so y'all been doing this, started this year. So what advice would you give to brothers and sisters that's thinking about going into the restaurant business and thinking about becoming entrepreneurs? What advice would you give them?
We definitely need a partner.
Yeah, definitely.
The right partner.
You can't do this by yourself.
Yeah.
You can, but you're gonna die.
Just like that.
It's a very stressful
It's
business.
stressful.
Yeah. And you can't give up. We ran into many roadblocks, before we even open it. So you can't give up. Just got to keep going.
Yeah, we pretty much strong on our way opening that doors, man. Like, it's things we went through, man. Like,
I was coming over there when I was I'm like, damn, it's not open yet. I was trying to like, yo, for real, I love wings.
Yeah, we were supposed to open like 2 months before we opened, and it was just a lot of issues with the place that we rented. It was just a lot, but God is good. So
No question.
yeah, being that it was already a wing spot, we didn't just move in there and just was able to open the doors.
Nah.
We had to do that whole place over. Like, it wasn't set up to do proper business. So that was like a big roadblock for us.
Gotcha.
So y'all have any regrets since opening the doors?
Nah.
No regrets. That's what's up. So what's next for Brooklyn Wing House? Any new locations? Any different special sauces and
Probably another
menu
location.
additions?
Probably another location.
Another
probably
location.
a year from now or so. We still iron out the kinks. So
Just the right location.
yeah.
Absolutely. Got anything for him?
Man, keep doing your thing, baby.
So
I like it. I love it.
So make sure y'all. So tell them where they can find Brooklyn Wing House. The address, social media sites.
Located 1218 Union Street, corner of Nostrand and Union. Social media, Brooklyn Wing House on Instagram, BK Wing House on Twitter. Yeah.
And tell them the telephone number because I like the telephone number.
718 BK Wings.
That's it. That's it right there. Huh?
There was a question you wanted to ask us too about the famous who we.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you had one you only could pick one famous person that you would cater whatever for, like who would that be?
And that'd be none of them. None. They don't like to pay. They want everything for free. But if I had to pick one, I'm gonna pick Jay.
Oh, okay.
Cause I'm gonna sit down and pick his mind the whole time.
Word.
Get close to him, Invade is mentioned. All right, well, thank you. Appreciate y'all for coming out. We wish y'all many years of success. We're gonna turn it over to Pure. He's about to go into it with Creno.
Diego, Creno. Yes, sir. 5-star fish and chips. It's my brother from the Sandbox. You know what I'm saying? If you look at a book by its cover, you know what I'm saying, you're going to always prejudge my man. You know what I mean? That's why we call him the Sneezer. But I'm going to let him talk about his business. 5-star fish and chips. Hey, go.
Yeah.
Speaking to the mic, bro.
I'm Diego from Brooklyn, New York. I own the restaurant 5-Star Fish and Chips, Taste of Miami. And my reason for creating this restaurant is I got sick of eating Chinese food, fried Jamaican food, Spanish food,
Right.
and it's nothing that was assessed to us, you know what I mean? And when I did have to eat, I had to go all the way to Harlem. It's like Brooklyn didn't really do soul food like that, you know what I mean? Once Country Kitchen sat down, we ain't have nothing. So that's what was my real reason for coming up with 5-Star Fish and Chips, Taste of Miami, because I'm from Florida, and that's what we really prey on. You know what I mean? Soul food. You know what I mean? That's what gets us through. You know what I mean? Good mac and cheese, yams. When you're at your family gathering, the macaroni salad, the potato salad. So I just felt like up here we didn't have that. Like when I went everywhere else, I went to Atlanta. Everywhere you could find a good soul food spot. But in New York, you know what I mean, you would get a good fish and chip spot, but it was not the soul food because, like, nobody in New York want to make stuff from scratch. They'll give us collard greens out the can or yams out the can. They don't want to take their time to really give us soul food. You know what I mean? If you're a person from the hood or the urban area, you know what soul food is. So, that was my real reason for creating that restaurant.
How long 5-Star Fish and Chips been in business since you took over as the owner?
About 4 years.
And give us some of the ups and some of the downs.
Well, the ups are that I get a chance to see people in my neighborhood eat good without having to eat processed food or having to go to Chinese man or Jamaican or Spanish that can eat something that they're familiar with.
Okay. And what's the downs?
The downs is really not knowing what I was getting into when I was getting into it. And that's the first thing I want to tell any entrepreneur that's about to start a business. Make sure you do your research on the business that you get into because there's so many restraints in that business. You got the health department, you got insurance, you got people, like they were saying, the Brooklyn Wing House was saying, you got the clients that complain, you got overhead, you got people that want to get paid more than they're worth. So you got all those things that you really got to put in perspective before you really even thinking about opening up a business because those are the major parts that could be your failures. You know what I mean? If you don't know really what you're up against as far as the health department, labor, and those type things.
Education.
Yeah, education.
Pure, you asked him questions since he became owner. Hey, weren't the owner prior to?
Yeah, well, what it was,
You mean did you mean to say since he opened it?
well, what he's saying is, I bought an existing business. Someone owned it, and I bought
Okay,
it off
okay.
him.
Yep.
Cool. So you brought an existing business and kind of changed the name.
Yeah, well, I elaborated off the name, and I changed the menu.
Okay, so walk me through that process. How is that? So it's kind of, I guess it's a little bit different than starting from the ground up.
Well, the only
is it?
difference,
Or is it?
See,
I
the
don't know.
difference when you start from ground up, you got to go through all of the inspections. So it takes you longer to open up. When you take on an existing business, I could just come in the next day and I could just set up as is and keep going. It's like under new management. So that's the good part about it, getting an existing business, that you can go straight into a business without having to go through the city sending this person down, architects, the whole restraints of opening up a business in New York City.
Right. So so that leads me to my next question. So in re-imaging that, because I'm sure a lot of the clientele was probably coming from people in that area who knew about the pre-existing spot. So how did you reinvent the business and the spot and letting them know that it was under new management, and what was your plan to kind of?
Like I said, I had did my research with eating around, so I know like people up north really don't deal with seasoning and stuff like that. Like when they put their stuff out, they really just they just put it out like through like canned goods, or they don't really take their time to really do it on a consistently basis, like every day. So I knew if I can get that lane, I could bring that to the table, because when you eat in the hood all the time, you are used to really getting food like that. You really used to getting foods that seasoned, taste properly. You're getting your mac and cheese that's baked properly. And when you get it on the off brand, it's not like that. You know what I mean? They don't prepare food like we used to really have it in the hood.
Right. So that's how you get your people, the people that is coming back. Y'all actually have conversations with your customers about how y'all prepare the food and things like that?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, cool. Has there been any regrets from taking over the business?
Well, if I like I said, I'm gonna go back on. I didn't do the research of what I was getting into, so that caused me to lose a lot of money and time in the beginning. But once I got the hang of it, it really was just smooth sailing.
Okay, and how long have you been in business?
4 years.
4 years. When did you see a turn in profit?
Well, I really seen a turn in profit when I joined Uber Eats. That's what really was a changing point for me, because and also when I went to a marketing class, I had to go back to school to do marketing class, and once I understood the marketing value, and that helped get more increase in profits. And then once I joined Uber Eats, it just took me to a whole nother level.
Got you. So that's kind of like, I guess what my first question was, and I don't know if I said it the right way, but when you took the marketing class, you were able to bring in more. Or did you turn a profit because you brought in more customers, or you found another way to promote the business?
Well, I learned pricing. That was my problem when I first came. I didn't understand the pricing range, and that was my major problem, not understanding the pricing range and not understanding sales taxes and stuff of that nature. And once I really got that and understood how to price the people, like to make 300% profit on everything I sell, then I really started making a profit in the business.
Got you. Okay, it's dope. All right, Pure.
All right, cool, man. We're going to wrap this up, man. We want to thank Diego. We want to thank Brooklyn Wing House. We want to thank Culture for showing us love on. This is actually our first series for Black entrepreneurs. We're going to keep this thing going, man. Stocky Rocky, you're going to close us out, big dog.
Oh, that's it, man. I mean, anybody out there, anybody got any dreams, aspirations, they want to do anything, I think everybody in this room, what they're doing now started with a thought. So, if you got that thought, just put something behind it, and push through. Don't let nobody tell you no, and don't let nobody discourage you. If the people that think you can't do it, they think your dreams, if people don't think your dreams are big enough, around you, then you need different people around you. You know, just do your thing and keep moving towards what you got going on.
And real quick, go ahead, Rose.
I want to say one more thing too.
Go ahead, Red, speaking of mine.
And for anybody that wants to locate 5 Star Fish and Chips, we are located 521 Stanley Ave, Brooklyn, New York, 11207, Pennsylvania, between Stanley, between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So if anybody out there listening, you want some good soul food, come on down and check me.
All right, Rose, what's your business, Rose?
I have a daycare in Buffalo, New York, Rosie Posey's Playhouse Daycare, located in Riverside, New York.
All right, y'all, that's it. Dynamic analytical synthesis. We out.